Hello students, my name is Boinu Vaipe. Today we'll be discussing Unit 7, State and Social Change, the role of the Constitution in bringing about change and development in the country. Topics included are constitutional measures, parties, political parties and pressure groups, panchayatiraj institutions and challenges. Before we start discussing the constitutional measures, we'll have a brief background of India as a nation state and its constitution. The constitution is the supreme law of the land. It lays down the framework demarcating fundamental political code, powers and duties of government institutions, and sets out fundamental rights, directive principles, and the duties of citizens. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution in the world. Article 1 states that India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. The Indian nation state is socially, geographically, and culturally one of the most diverse in the world. It means we have different religions, languages, race, culture, and sect, etc. Most political scientists and thinkers predict its early demise at the time of India's independence. India, akoina nahan chapter 6 da discuss tawkre. India haibase British rule gi mamang da leramde. So India is the creation of British, because before British rule there were independent small princely states. They could not communicate with one another. There were different languages, and the culture were totally different from one part of the country to another. So let's say India is the making of the British rule. Aduga, at the time of India's independence, many political scientists, apauba thinkers mayamna, India say, since it is composed of so many types of different languages and religions, kuina survive to haihi maina adumaina predict tauhi. But today it proved them wrong. We see India not only surviving but is doing very well. Today India is one of the leaders of world economy, and it is a shining example of a vibrant democracy. Now let's discuss constitutional measures. The Constitution of India is one of the greatest instruments of social change. It has mandated and brought about many changes through its public policy. India Constitution sina ahongba chawkhatnama mayam ama purai. India sida lairiba different languages, different religions, culture simayama say today we live together. We represent unity and diversity. It is because of our constitution. Constitution na mayam ama phajana nungsi chanana laiminaba aduga yam tolaba chakhattaba jati mayam ama su atai ga mananaba equality mayam ama puraknaba si mayam ama effort thadaba se constitution na ni. For example, khoina singju natra salad chai. Singju sida ingredients makhal lay, kobi, thambo, maroi, kelijana, for example. Asi mayamam se tola kanda thoidingumba hapaga ma thumaro ngari hapaga tola kanda ahauba singju ama thoi. Adubu si mayamam se matomta, for example, only kobi ga ngari eragadi singju gi mahau do wat kane. Adumaina India sisu we are unity in diversity. Mayamama se pulapna laiminara kanda we are interdependent, we live together, and it turns out to be a beautiful nation. For example, nampuna chagem pomba guma kangsoi guma thonga kanda pathagre moroi gumba alu gumba. Unlike chagem pomba thongba gumba singju or salad, each ingredient retains its unique identity. So likewise in India, every tribe, every religion, every language, mayamama say each community retains its own unique identity. Adu unique identity preserve tawe layi mayam say unity in diversity way. It doesn't mean that everyone will become Hindu or it will become Hindu state Ram Rajya habugumanate. Sometimes we face challenges. Mayamama say Hindi common or ni mayam Hindi ngang the biadre habugumba natraga uniform civil code kumba minority ki damakti khayam ki janingai oibagumba athingba amagumba. So our constitution protects those kind of challenges. Reservation in government jobs, public sector, state and central legislatures, and educational institution is the most important initiative to compensate for the past and present discrimination. We know that India is a land of discrimination. For example, there are so many castes, subcastes, different communities, language. Sina inherent oireba inequalities in society da adubu constitution na adu mayam amado muthatnaba equality puraknaba backward oireba tribals natraga scheduled caste mayam outcast mayam ama se ataiga compete tawbada manarakpa ngamnanaba reservations mayam ama government jobs ta natraga state legislator MLA gi kanoda aduga lok sabha gi da parliament gi da reservations thami. Since those tribals and scheduled castes they are very backward, they cannot compete at equal par with the mainstream people. So the constitution provides for those kind of reservations. In addition to reservation, there has been a number of laws passed to end, prohibit and punish caste discrimination. Reservation dang taude constitution na adumba untouchability practice tauba society da mi bu discriminate tauba adu mayama punish taunaba mayama provisions mayama supi Article 17 which abolishes untouchability khudam oina harabada. Article 15(1) abolishes discriminations to any class of persons on ground of religion, race, sex and place of birth. Aduna shugu mayam discrimination magi place of birth mana adu lawai digi natra adu chakotaba remote village tagi ni haibagumba discrimination jat kumbagi caste ki discrimination adu mayama laitanaba Article 15(1) dasu phajana religion on the basis of religion discrimination laitanaba provide tawi. Article 46 of the Directive Principles of State Policy enjoins the state to take special care in promoting educational and economic interest of the weaker section of the society. Several socialist measures have been taken up to end poverty, ignorance, disease, inequality between man and woman, especially in wages, insecurity of the old, disabled, of jamindars, land reforms, etc. Akoi directive principles ta mayamama articles mayamama thengnai upliftment of the poor, weaker section gi educational economic interest mayamama to look after. Article 46 na equality between man and woman in terms of wages adu mayamama right to work mayamama provide the way. The role of judiciary has been remarkable in the direction of social change and justice dispensing. The public interest litigation has revolutionized the judicial system. Hoji akoi gi judiciary system na society da hongba mayamam puri public interest litigations in the form of public interest litigation social interest litigation oina haina nasu khangnai. Free and compulsory education through Right to Education Act 2009, Lokpal and Lokayuktas Acts have brought phenomenal changes in the country. Corruption gumba muthatnaba Lokpal and Lokayukta Act haibam lai 2013 da. And Article 275 provides for grants and aid to the states for promoting the welfare of STs. Article 275 na remote village tribal singi damag chakotnaba grants gumba loan gumba fund hadaba adu mayama masulay provision. The SC Commission, ST Commission, Minority Commission and Women Commission are some important institutions which promotes change and development. Marak discriminations kuma mayama thengnaba law violate tauba mayama we come across adu mayamama do solve taunaba. SC Commission, ST Commission, Minority Women's Commission adu mayamama lay. Now we'll discuss pressure groups and political parties. Pressure groups are groups organized to pursue specific interest in the political arena, operating primarily by lobbying the members of legislative bodies. They are formed when certain interest groups feel that their interests are not being taken up. Examples are ITAC, FICCI, IMA, teachers' associations. Different interest groups will work towards influencing political parties. Pressure groups haibadi adugumba groups which have some common features. For example, Indian Medical Association, Teachers Association, FICCI haibagumba se Federations of Indian Chambers and Commerce Industry. Moina moigi problem gumba leirakanda. For example, FICCI hairase businessmen mayam amana association form tawi FICCI hairaga aduda moina problem gumba moina government da phongdokningba hainingba leiragadi mayam amadu purap chatlaga government kanoda chenba yadamnina. On behalf of the businessman, there is an association which represents moigi problem do wakatpa government na taunaba adumba group singdo political magnate. They are moig election lepte. They don't contest elections. It's just an association where they share their problems, and on behalf of the association, on behalf of the other members, their problems are being taken to the government. Anishubada political parties. A political party is an organization established with the aim of achieving governmental power and using that power to pursue a specific program. Political parties are based on certain understanding of a society and how it ought to be. In a democratic system, the interests of different groups are also represented by political parties who take up their case, example, Congress, BJP, CPI, etc. Political parties, they contest elections. When a candidate kumba ama select raga ticket piraga moi election contest we mayam amana vote hadaraga candidate to the particular candidate ama choose tawraga vote hadaraga, and that who won the elections mana mayam dugi on behalf the government the moi majority party duna government form tawgani aduga opposition party na second largest oirani adumaina direct government administration da participate tawba election lepa adugumbaduna political party kawi. For example, Congress, BJP, CPI, all these are examples of political parties. Aduga animakna in enforcing social change and development, both pressure groups as well as political parties played a big role. Now we'll discuss panchayatiraj institutions and its challenges. Panchayatiraj literally means governance by 5 individuals. The idea is to ensure at the village or grassroots level a functioning and a vibrant democracy. Panchayatiraj Hindi word ni Panch means 5. Mi manga na rule tawba. In remote villages, in rural areas, moigi problem dudi khoina adagi center da achaw asang sing na moigi problem do don't know very well. Masagi local gi village ki problem dudi masagi local mi na best khange. Aduna panchayatiraj hairagadi local me elect tawraga, and in the administrations of the country government welfare gi damak chakhat na bagi damak government run tawbado panchayatiraj kawi. When the constitution was being drafted, panchayats was not mentioned. It was only in 1992 under the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act panchayati institution was introduced. Hana panchayatiraj leramde 1992 dang the introduced tawhi. So many people were not happy of the absence of panchayatiraj in the constitution, and finally in 1992 panchayatiraj was introduced with the 73rd Amendment Act. It is now compulsory for local self-government bodies in rural areas to be elected every 5 years. MLA gi every 5 years election lepa sumaina panchayat ki su every 5 years moina election conduct tawi. Powers and responsibilities of panchayats. Panchayat ki moigi main thabak moina tawribasi karino hairakanda. Number 1, they prepare plans and schemes for economic development. They promote schemes that will enhance social justice, to levy, collect and appropriate taxes, duties, tolls and fees, help in the devolution of governmental responsibility, especially that of finances to local authorities. Social welfare responsibilities of the panchayat includes the maintenance of burial grounds, recording statistics of births and deaths, establishment of child welfare, propagation of family planning and promotion of agricultural activities. So there are many functions of the panchayats. For example, schemes, economic development gi Indian society de chathariba manarega. All these are being enforced through the panchayats. Job card, shumba mayamama say the panchayat looks after it. The sources of income of the panchayats. Panchayats do not totally depend on the central government. They generate their own income. Let's see how. Tax levied on property, water, profession, liquor, animals and vehicles, etc. Cess on land revenues and rentals, income generating programs, grants and loans from the state government received through the Jilla Parishad, voluntary contributions. So minor, the panchayat, they generate their income from these taxes and cess levied from the people. Khajna law gi khajna haibumba natraga tax mi gi tax mayamama profession gi water gi si mayamama se panchayat ki sources of income ne. Now we'll discuss issues and challenges of panchayati raj system. Panchayati governance has certain limitations. State na district officer mayam na control tarakpa magi in theory the power mayam lairagasu, in practice the mangonda control mayam amal taubagi mangonda mana independence watpagi magi program execution da mangonda control mayam amal laibagi phajana tokthokpa ngamdaba aduna magi challenges mayam amalai. We'll discuss one after another. The prime challenge that the institution is facing is the problem of lack of adequate finances, which hinders their functions and growth. Second, it has very little devolution of authority. Third, lack of awareness and non-fulfillment of promises made by the bodies make village people suspicious of the utility of the panchayati raj bodies. And lastly but not the least, it suffers from structural deficiencies, that is, no secretarial support and lack of technical knowledge, which restricts the aggregation of bottom-up planning. Haibadi 5-year plans the top-down approach ne panchayati raj sidana bottom-up planning, bottom-up approach means from the grassroots to the highest level chatpanina sigi sida structural deficiency amala eba theory the piba mayam amaduga in practice the paradoxical oiba contradictory oiba mayam amalai. Nyaya panchayats. Nyaya panchayats haibadi Nyaya panchayat is a kind of village court. It trains women to expose injustice and participate in decision making process. They have been constituted in some states. They hear petty civils and criminal cases. They can impose fines but cannot award a sentence. This village have been effective in punishing men who harass women for dowry and perpetrate violence against them. Nyaya panchayats is a kind of a panchayats which hear petty crime and civil cases. Macha lekai gi imungi problem gumba dowry cases, woman harassment gumba, violence gumba imungda leirakanda adugumba cases singdu panchayat Nyaya panchayats na solve tawi adubu moida punish tawbagi hakti leite. They just solve the hear the cases and solve the issues, but they do not have the legal authority to punish or award sentences. Women reservation in panchayats. Article 243D of the Constitution reserved 1/3 of the seats for women and 1/3 offices of the chairperson. Thus, panchayatiraj is one of the greatest sources of women empowerment. Panchayatiraj ki the election the women ki nupi ki 1/3 seat reserved tawi, aduga chairperson sarpanch ki seat su 1/3 reserved tawi for women. That's how Panchayatiraj has played a very important role in the empowerment of women in the country. Just housewife yum the labor mayam amado, they give them the platform to bring out the real issues of which the society is facing. That's how they make women more financially independent and empower the woman. Thus, akoina mamangi unit 6 social changes mayamama, Sanskritization, westernization, modernization, secularization na maram oidana, urbanization, industrialization na maram oidana changes mayamama chakhatpa mayamama tholai, and most of those were unintended. But in this changes brought about by the Constitution, these are all intended, deliberate by the Constitution makers, by the visionaries, by the freedom fighters, by the nationalists of India. Moyina mayamama Indian society gi varied nature si yengaga phajana analyze tawra research tawraga sumaina India se nungsi chanana leminana ba mayamama se different backgrounds mayamama, different origin races mayamama, khoi sak manade mayamama, Mongoloid race lay, Australoid, Caucasoid saksu kanam ta manade, and religion su makhal sunaba lay, language su lising ama hena lay. Officially though only 22 is recognized. Aduga mayama khenaba mayama caste, culture, tribes mayama lay. Aduna si mayama se kamaina as a nation state, as a country kamaina laimina ba yagadra haiba se moina phajana research tawraga kok thadaraga constitution is the same bani, and it has proved successful in bringing immense changes and development in the country, in the Indian society. Thank you, and we'll be discussing Unit 8 in the next class. Stay tuned. Until then, goodbye.